If you're over the income limit or the asset limit from Florida Medicaid, don't panic. Being over that limit doesn't automatically mean you're disqualified. And so today I want to go over and explain the legal ways Florida families can become eligible without violating the 5-year look-back rule. And so this is an important topic if you're trying to apply for Medicaid. One of the most common things I hear is, well, we make too much money. We make too much money for Florida Medicaid. Or people would say, we're definitely way over the $2,000 limit, asset limit, so we don't qualify. And that assumption can cost family tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary healthcare costs, long-term care costs, like nursing home payments or assisted living payments or caregiver payments at home. Because in Florida, eligibility is often structured it's structured in a way where you can qualify even if you're over the limit. For instance, for 2026, if your gross monthly income exceeds the Medicaid income limit, you cannot simply spend it down like in some other states. And if you have countable assets exceed $2,000 as a single applicant, you won't qualify until you address that excess assets, those excess cash accounts that you have or whatever the asset may be. So what do families do? So unfortunately, many start giving away money and property and transferring, property without legal advice and name a bank account in someone else's name or sell assets below market value. These mistakes trigger a 5-year Medicaid look-back period, which can cause months and months, sometimes even years, of penalty. So let's break down the legal strategies used in Florida Medicaid planning. Let's address income first. Qualified income trust or Miller Trust in Florida. If your income exceeds the Florida Medicaid income limit, you may still qualify for Medicaid, okay? So this trust will help you be able to qualify, and this is how it works. That excess income is deposited into a trust account each month. That trust is properly structured under Florida law. Its funds are used towards that patient's care and patient responsibility. This allows most people to meet that Florida income cap rule. But important, the trust itself has to be drafted correctly. It has to be executed correctly before it will be approved by the agency. And so income over the limit doesn't automatically disqualify you in Florida. That's number one. Number two, legal spend down strategies for your assets. If you are over that $2,000 limit in Florida, you must reduce that countable asset to the legal amount, currently $2,000. So you can have some permissible spend down strategies, which include paying off debt, making improvements to your Florida homestead property, purchasing exempt assets, prepaying funeral and burial expenses, replacing a vehicle, purchasing certain Medicaid compliant financial products like an annuity. You cannot gift money away. You can't do that. Okay, you can't transfer property to someone else unless it's your spouse. You can't hide assets. Florida Medicaid will examine your financial records for the last 5 years. This is what's called the Florida 5-year look-back rule. So improper transfers result in a penalty period, which Medicaid will not pay for a long-term care, and it will cost you thousands, okay? So proper planning is essential. And number three, for married couples, the community spouse protections apply. If one spouse is, say, entering a nursing home in Florida, but the healthy spouse is protected under federal and Florida Medicaid law. The community spouse, as it's called, the non-Medicaid applicant, may retain a portion of the couple's assets, right? And that's called the community spouse resource allowance. A minimum level of monthly income And so this prevents the financial devastation, right, to the spouse that's not sick, that doesn't need to go into an assisted living facility or Medicaid or a nursing home. So Medicaid planning for married couples in Florida requires more of a careful calculation. Okay, how about timing? When do we apply? Eligibility planning must be done before or during the application process. Waiting until after a denial makes things much harder. So, and crisis planning is very different from advanced planning. The difference between proper Florida Medicaid planning and guessing can mean protecting your home, preserving your savings, avoiding penalty periods, shortening approval time. This is why structured legal planning is essential. If you're slightly over the income limit or your asset limit is for Florida Medicaid is over the amount, don't assume that you don't qualify, that you will be automatically denied. But also do not start transferring assets without understanding. All right, understanding the 5-year look-back period and the look-back rule to make sure that those transfers are done properly. The rules are super strict. The planning has to be precise. So now that you understand how to become eligible in Florida, the next step is critical: how to properly apply for Florida Medicaid. In the next video, I'll walk you through step by step through the Florida Medicaid application process. It's required steps that have to be done through required documentation. I'll walk you through some common mistakes that cause delays or even denials. I'll link it to the next video here below so that you can click right over to it. And we'll see you on the next video.